Most of my life, I've traveled around with my horses, going to rodeos, clinics, futurities, and they have taken me to many places and have introduced me to many, many different people. I never stop being fascinated with the people that I meet and the fact that the horses themselves bring people together who would not otherwise even cross paths. People that are not just horse people, they don't make a living with the horses. Their horses are their sanctuary and their break from their very busy, very stressful lives. One of these new people that I have come to know is Guesman. She has such positive energy that she uplifts both horses and people everywhere she goes.
She's a blue jean baby with her hat down low, chasing that wild wind wherever it blows, flying through the night just as fast as she can go. Yeah, it's one right, two left, riding like hell round that clover leaf pattern that she knows so well. Sitting just right with the reins in her hands underneath the bright lights, chasing them pins. She's one of those nobody knows out making some noise. Yeah, she's a dark horse.
I feel like two different people. I'm a cowgirl one minute and a nurse the next.
I've known Winter for about 2 years. My name's Dr. Goetz, and I'm an anesthesiologist here. And I liked Winter a lot when I first met her, but I didn't really know what to think of her. And I think maybe she wondered what to think of me too. But then after she described how she'd been raised in Idaho, then I was just like, oh, I get this girl now. But when I found out she was going to move here to this hospital from a surgery center where I initially worked with her, I was excited for myself and also for the hospital just because she's such an asset. She's just good at everything. Shows up early, stays late, never complains. Just perfect worker.
So this is pre-op, and this is where we check in on our patients and I get report from our nurses. And these are the holding bays right here that I go in and talk to the patients and make sure everything's cleared and consented and that we're ready for surgery. Okay. All right, Irene. I'm with your patient.
So this is Bill. Nothing to eat or drink since last night.
Okay.
No allergy.
I worked with Winter for 1 year in the operating room at Centennial Hills. We work, we operate as a surgical team. She's the circulating nurse, I'm the anesthesia nurse, the nurse anesthetist. Teamwork's very important, and Winter's a great addition to our team. She's very energetic, and she adds a lot of good spirit and cheer to our team. A lot of energy. I've never met a barrel racer, but I've seen all the pictures. She's shown me the videos, the pictures, the horse, and she's told me all the stories.
This is so cool.
Thanks.
It's so different than home.
Yes, it's a lot different from my place where I grew up in Idaho. In fact, the way it works is everybody buys a barn and we share 2 common arenas, and it's open 24/7. So that way people out in the city can have access to ride every day. So
And you can build it like you want.
well, there's codes, but for the most part, yeah, we can keep 4 horses. So usually when I get here, before I do anything, I take off my watch because I'm a free butterfly now that I'm out of the OR. and take my phone off because I'm not on call, which makes me very happy. So we're gonna come in here and get Jewel, and she is not shy at all. Hi, Miss Jewel. Remember Miss Dena?
Hey, Jewel, you're looking even chubbier. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yes, she's a good girl,
Yeah.
friendly girl.
So tell me how you got her. Like when I met you, you told me about finding her.
Well, I found her on Facebook. Kimberly actually found her for me on Facebook, my friend. I talked to her and I loved the way she was bred. I was trying to find a horse that was bred just like her. She's all race bred, but she's a little hot. And if anybody knows me, I love riding the hot, crazy ones. It's a good little challenge for me.
And she wasn't exactly fat.
No, she was really skinny. I had to put almost 350 pounds on her. I didn't realize that until I got up there and saw her, and I couldn't leave her. I didn't care that I was going to pay money for her, but I just needed to save her, basically. So
you went for bloodlines and ended up picking up a sort of a rescue situation.
Went for bloodlines and picked up a rescue. I just saw her there and I just couldn't leave her. And I looked at my husband. He's like, you know what you have to do. And I think I cried almost the whole way home. It was a 12-hour trip and we had to stop and for 6 hours and leave her overnight because she was so that week, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And she was that week, and then I loaded her up the next day and we made it the rest of the way home. And I was so scared that somebody was going to turn me in, so I had to put a fly sheet on her, fly mask, and hide her out, and took her to the veterinarians as fast as I could to show them what I got and received, so they documented it. And since then, she's just been my little pal.
And now she's nice and healthy looking.
Luckily for me, the way I grew up was on a feedlot, and we raised a lot of cattle, and so and horses, a lot of cattle and horses. So I was lucky enough to learn from veterinarians and feed programs and nutritional programs for all the cows and the horses. And so I was looking up feed regimens on how to feed her to get her fat without getting her hot, because she's already hot as it is from their bloodlines. And I also didn't want to put too much feed on her too fast because it could hurt their system, shock their system. So I found Renew Gold and I looked up all the ingredients, and I love Renew Gold. It made a huge difference for her fast.
That's what I feed too. That's awesome.
It's amazing feed.
It is.
Yep. So
yeah, because I think when I met you, it was 4 months and she already looked great.
She did. Yep.
I couldn't believe her story.
Now she has a little reserves, which is fine with me. Makes me happy. What I've learned from veterinarians and different people is I like to feed while I tack up, because they have a lot of acid in their belly, and I don't want any ulcers, and I don't want that sloshing around in their belly while I'm riding them. And it gives them a little peace, a little comfort, so they look forward for you to come out and get them. And
so do you feed them? Is that her whole feeding, and you don't do it again later?
Yeah, this is her. No, this is just for her grain, and then of course she gets hay.
Sure.
Sure, she gets hay afterwards. But yeah, I put the Renew Gold and my Platinum, and then I also give her magnesium on top of it, just for her bones. Come here, princess.
And you let her eat off the ground like a dog.
Yeah, that's perfect. So I started breaking colts when I was 12 years old, and I had a full-time job at the feedlot when I was 13, and that's all I did for work and fun. It was fun, but it was work, of course. And I took a lot of outside horses and some of my family's horses, and that's what I did, is ride colts all day on the feedlot. So, and doctor sick cattle and raise horses and rodeoed. So that's all I did, and that's where I learned from some of my top hands up in Idaho. I was very blessed to ride with a lot of great hands up there that taught me how to feel for my horse and what to look for, and had to really read a horse's mannerisms, how to get inside their head and basically understand them and train them, because horses, you know, they don't want to be mean, they don't want to hurt you, they just don't understand. Most of the time it's because they're scared and they don't understand. If give them a chance to understand and slow down a little bit, they actually want to do what do anything for you. You just have to understand that and have a little bit of patience and not hurry them too fast. And sometimes it's hard because you get excited when you have a good one that's working and you want to do better or do more. But it's really important to understand where they're coming from.
This is a bridle horse, to be specific, but reined cow horse.
Yes.
You and your husband show them.
Yes.
That's your first love, correct?
No, barrel racing is my first love.
Oh, your barrel race is your first love.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There.
Oh. That's awesome.
Whoa, he's like, okay.
Yeah. Since we've known each other for a little while now, but and you mentioned that your childhood was less than perfect. And you had said to me, I grew up on a feedlot, which I thought to myself, okay, well, she grew up working on a feedlot, but you literally lived on a feedlot, but that you wouldn't change it one bit because that had prepared you for the life you live now.
Like I said, I started working on the feedlot when I was 13 years old, and I had a lot of great people help raise me and influence me to round me the way I was, and I wasn't raised conventionally. I didn't go to school, so I went to school the cowboy way.
The cowboy way.
Yeah. And as my husband says, I was raised by wolves, which were a bunch of old cowboys, but I would never trade it for anything in the world. It means so dear to me that I've learned a lot. Like when I was 15 years old, I learned how to do a C-section on a cow, and I thought that was one of the most amazing things I could learn, and how to doctor cows and how to save lives, even though they were cows and horses, and for the love of animals and the love of medicine, actually. And when I turned 18, I went and got my GED and wanted to do more. So learn more about medicine and helping more people. And so that's how I began my journey.
Now you're officially an OR nurse.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
by way of the feedlot.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I have to credit my horses a lot. For outside jobs, my horses actually help pay a lot of my way to being dental assisting, my nursing school, my first cars, my first trailers, everything. I rode a lot of horses and broke a lot of horses and sold them, and that's how I made my way. So
wow.
Yep. I don't really get stressed out about much. The only two things I get stressed out about is if someone's dying or if someone's getting hurt. And other than that, I don't get stressed out. Life is just about taking care of people and doing the right thing. So, and like I said, I love taking care of people, and I love taking care of animals, and that's why I chose the OR. So.
And your whole childhood it reared you in so that you're fabulous at taking care of things, from
yes.
nutrition,
yep.
horsemanship, and some of that stuff. Even at the hospital this morning, the one guy, your friend that had the anesthesia.
Dr. Greg Goetz. Dr. Goetz.
Yeah. And he said that he just loved working with you because you just came out and you looked like a little cow dog, and you just went from one person to another like a cow dog checking on cows.
Yep.
Did you hear him say that?
Yes, he teases me all the time, but Mr. Bob always used to call me as a kid Florence Nightingale, because I would be out in the middle of the night checking cows and making sure that they were okay, and that none of them died, and that they got feed and were warm enough, and that's what I would do.
And he was one of your sort of adoptive dads?
Yep, he was that helped raise me. He was one of them. Yep. So.
Okay, so this is the big question. How did you get to Las Vegas, Nevada?
I came down here and decided to ride reining horses because I wanted to improve my riding style and get a little more feel for my horses, and then I met my wonderful husband, and he has a career here as a police officer, and fell in love with him and got married to him, and here I am. With his blessing, him and I, we went through that journey as going into nursing school, which was a very hard, difficult journey, very difficult, and I'm very blessed that he helped me get through this and let my dreams come alive with doing so.
So you guys kind of get to see, or I don't know if get to see is the right word, but if you're a Metro police officer, you're the OR nurse, So the lesser beautiful side of humanity might be a large part of you guys' life.
It is, and I understand, he understands me and I understand him. I make sure when he comes home, his house is a paradise, because it's very important. He has a very stressful job, and the last thing I want him to do is come through that house, be worried or stressed something that's going on in the house. I want him to come home, feel relaxed, and be happy. That's his paradise. So
And could you say that these guys here
They
make
are.
a big difference and you guys can do it together?
They make a huge difference. He rides Raiding Cow Horse with me.
And this is his that he's
This
let
is
me.
his horse, Lobo, and I love the fact that I have somebody to have those dreams with, because we travel. He's my traveling partner for Raiding Cow Horse, and we have a lot of fun doing it. And he's always helping me with my Raiding Cow Horse. Even my barrel horses, he's like, oh, I probably would do this or do that. And he is my stone. He's my foundation. So he's my rock, and it's fun to share this with him.
I was born in Southern California, but I came here at a very, very young age and have been raised out here my whole life. I've been a police officer with Las Vegas Metro for just over 19 years. I met Winter actually through horses. She was working at the time for a trainer, a reining trainer, and I was showing reiners at the time. I hadn't got into cow horses yet, and her and I met because she was working for him. And it was really funny because we went to a show at one of the very, very early on when we met, and she actually beat me. And so I kind of went over and was talking to her about it, and really that was the very beginning of how our relationship started. You know, I think the greatest thing about horses for us is when you get involved in horses and it becomes such a lifestyle, it's not just a hobby anymore. It really becomes a lifestyle. And certainly what I notice is that it's been a tremendous source of relief for both Winter and myself. You know, we've made a lot of friends, you know, with horses. My folks are into horses. My dad shows reined cow horses. So really it's something that runs in our family now. And a lot of the things that I've seen and done on the department, you know, horses are my relaxation. Horses are my way to come out here, to unwind, to put the stress aside, to put all the things the craziness of the world aside, and be able to come out here and just focus on my wife and my horses. And it's such a fantastic thing.
I say it all the time about how our horses bring us together with people that we might never meet, and how awesome new relationships come from that. My friend Winter that I met through my horses, I love, and I have also met her best friend, whom I also love, Kimberly Gora.
So 7 years ago, I had just started taking riding lessons, and after a few months, I was so into it that I decided I need to buy a horse. And so at the place that we used to board, one day I was pulling out and I saw this beautiful little girl on a paint horse, and I actually stopped my car, I reversed, I sat there for a minute, and I thought, I've never seen her here before. So I actually asked about her the next day, and I think we saw each other, I think that weekend?
That weekend, yep.
That weekend. And Winter, of course, was so kind. She's like, there's no way you've been taking lessons for just a couple months. And so the next time I actually saw Winter, we were at a charity event at Wynn Hotel, and I went up and I said, hi. And she's, of course, kind, sweet little Winter's like, hi. And I said, you don't recognize me, do you? And I said, Kim from the barn. And she's like, oh my God. And so we started talking, and I said, I absolutely love your paint horse. And she said, he's for sale. And I go, I heard he's just a little too much for me. And she was so sweet. She says, no, he's not. I've watched you ride. She goes, why don't you come out and try him Saturday?
Yep.
So I went out and tried him, and I bought him, and she gave me lessons, and we've been the best of friends ever since. And we've been through some funny things. I think the first time that Winter actually taught me how to lope a horse, it was probably the slowest lope ever. And so I said to Winter and her husband, Bill, am I going fast? And we laugh about it because I, of course, was barely even moving.
She was slow loping, maybe. Yeah. But she looked good doing it.
We've been through a lot in the last 7 years together.
Yes, we have. Traveling.
Personally, horses, business, work.
A lot of changes. Me going through nursing school. She's been there when I was going through nursing school and didn't know if I can make it. Didn't know what to do, and she's like, oh, you can do this. I've seen you go through a lot worse. You're fine.
And Winter's really pushed me. Like sorry guys, everybody gets used to it, including the horses. The airplanes, yes. We've got McCarran's right up the way here. So for me, with Winter, it's obviously the horses. I mean, anything that becomes an emergency, anything that I just want to have a double thought on, or hey, check my bridle out. You know, she's it, and she's got all these awesome, cool, old cowboy tricks. Even things when it comes to, she takes all of her nursing and she really applies it to the horses. And she helps me a lot. She knows that there's a lot of things that I get nervous on, and I want to always make sure that I'm doing the right thing by the horses, and I'm not ever doing anything that's going to hurt them or jeopardize them. And she always really helps my confidence level and reassures me.
No matter where you came from, no matter what you've been through, is you just got to remember that you can always turn your scars into stars. And whatever you invest your time into, being your horse, your health, your job, you can always do better.